Well, moments after we taped our show last night, the Mad Red Hatter wrote, "I can't believe ABC Fake News gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back." You can't believe they gave me my job back. I can't believe we gave you your job back.
Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show isn't just facing criticism, it's been suspended. And the reason isn't about ratings or behind-the-scenes drama, it's about comments Kimmel made on air about Charlie Kirk's assassination. During his monologue that Monday night, Kimmel looked into the camera and said, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who killed Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them." That one line was enough to light a firestorm. Kimmel wasn't just joking about the tragedy, he was flipping the facts on their head. Federal investigators had already confirmed Robinson was tied to far-left ideology, yet Kimmel implied Kirk's killer was part of the very conservative movement Kirk led. Then Kimmel pushed it further. He played a clip of Trump being asked how he was handling Kirk's demise. Trump, trying to hold back emotion, shifted into talking about White House renovations. Instead of reading it as a grieving man rambling under stress, Kimmel tore into him. He mocked Trump's response by saying, "This is not how an adult grieves the demise of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish." To millions of viewers, this wasn't comedy, it was cruelty. Making jokes about a man's murder, twisting the motives, and mocking someone's grief didn't come across as edgy satire. It came across as tasteless and misleading at a time when emotions were raw. But making the joke was one thing, airing it was another, and ABC's decision to let it run changed everything. According to sources inside the network, Kimmel's team actually debated whether to cut that segment before the show aired. Some staffers thought the risk was too high, given how fresh and sensitive the Kirk tragedy was, but in the end, they chose to leave it in. That choice didn't just backfire, it threw Kimmel, ABC, and Disney into a national storm. Suddenly, this wasn't just about one late-night host telling a bad joke. It was about a network making a deliberate choice to broadcast something that millions would find offensive. That's when the government got involved, and the story went from a comedy controversy to a free speech battle.
When you look at the Jimmy Kimmel suspension, do you think it's another example of kind of state use of, or is it state censorship?
Well, I think this is a very clear example of that. It is a direct government action to try to intimidate employers, organizations, corporations, much of which we've already seen, to remove an opponent, even though it's a comic.
When Jimmy Kimmel's comments about Charlie Kirk aired, the backlash didn't just come from viewers or political commentators. It caught the attention of one of the most powerful regulators in the country, the Federal Communications Commission. Brendan Carr, the FCC chairman, didn't hold back. Instead of issuing a mild statement, he went straight to a podcast and described Kimmel's remarks as some of the sickest conduct possible. That was more than just criticism. Carr openly suggested that ABC could face serious consequences if they didn't act against Kimmel. And here's where it gets important. According to federal documents, Carr didn't stop with words. He made it clear that the FCC could look at ABC's broadcasting license. For a television network, that license is everything. Without it, their ability to air on national television disappears. So, when Carr floated the idea that ABC's license could be revoked, it wasn't just an opinion, it was a direct threat to Disney's billion-dollar empire. Legal experts immediately flagged this as unusual. The FCC has criticized networks before, but using the possibility of license revocation over a comedy monologue, that's not something we've seen in decades. In fact, many lawyers argued it crossed into dangerous territory, blurring the line between regulating content and punishing political speech. Whether people agreed with Kimmel or not, the precedent of the government leaning on networks over a joke made plenty of people nervous. And once those threats were made, the dominoes started to fall fast. The first big move came from Nexstar Media Group, which owns 32 ABC affiliate stations across the country. They announced they would stop airing Jimmy Kimmel Live. That alone signaled how serious the pressure had become. If affiliates started pulling the show, it meant ad revenue would plummet and the brand itself would be in jeopardy. Behind the scenes, Disney executives scrambled. Sources say emergency meetings ran for hours. They had two choices: defend Kimmel and risk an open battle with the government, or sacrifice him to protect the network's license and the rest of their business. It didn't take long for them to make a decision. By 6 p.m. Eastern that Wednesday, ABC put out a statement saying Jimmy Kimmel Live would be preempted indefinitely. The announcement sparked instant reactions. President Trump quickly jumped on Truth Social, celebrating the move. He wrote, "Great news for America, the ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel Show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done." That post set the tone for how political figures were going to treat this, not as a debate over comedy, but as a victory against one of their critics. But if you thought this was just about Kimmel, think again. Other late-night hosts suddenly had targets on their backs too. Trump wasted no time expanding his criticism. He called out Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers by name, labeling them two total losers and demanding NBC cancel their shows as well.
How do you feel about Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air?
Appalled, disappointed, etc.
Kind of surprised.
A little questionable.
My first thought was, who's next?
I was shocked. I was like, Jimmy Kimmel, out of everybody?
I think it's really unfortunate and I'm sad about it.
People are going to be scared to make jokes or to just critique even just a little bit. And I think it's going to impact everybody.
The suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live didn't just rattle the world of late-night television, it set off a wave of reactions across Hollywood. Actor Ben Stiller was among the first to comment, making it clear he thought ABC's move was heavy-handed. Jean Smart, who has long been vocal about political issues, went even further. She said she was horrified by the cancellation and called what Kimmel said free speech, not hate speech. For her, this wasn't about defending a joke, it was about defending the right of comedians to speak without government interference. Michael Keaton also weighed in, stressing that comedy has always played an important role in holding the powerful accountable. For him, punishing a comedian because their jokes crossed into politics was a dangerous precedent. And then came Wanda Sykes, who put a personal face on the fallout. She showed up ready to tape that night's episode of Kimmel's show, only to be told it was canceled. Dressed and prepped, she recorded a short video explaining how the production was pulled at the last second because of political complaints. Watching her stand there, makeup done, realizing the crew's work had been wasted, made the impact real. This wasn't just about Kimmel or ABC, it was about dozens of staff members and guests whose livelihoods were tied to the show. Even the live audience felt the shock. People had traveled across the country for a chance to watch a taping. Some had no idea what was happening until they were told to leave, confused and disappointed. For them, it wasn't a debate over politics, it was a canceled night out they had looked forward to for months. That's when the story became bigger than a late-night monologue. It was about ordinary people being caught in the middle of a political storm. But while celebrities debate free speech, Kimmel himself is left wondering what comes next. Right now, it looks like his future in traditional network television is over. The FCC's involvement and the government pressure that followed have attached baggage no network wants to deal with. That doesn't mean Kimmel is finished. Streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu, or even independent media companies could see this as an opportunity. For them, picking up Kimmel might not be a liability. It might be a statement. Hosting a show outside the restrictions of network TV could give Kimmel more freedom, and it might even attract a loyal audience who now sees him as a symbol of free speech under fire. He also has the option to pivot into independent projects, podcasts, digital shows, or even partnerships with platforms that thrive on controversy. But beyond Kimmel's career, this story forces us to ask something much bigger. Should comedians have limits when it comes to tragedies? Was Kimmel wrong to joke about how Trump grieved or to twist the facts about Kirk's killer? Or does punishing him for those lines open a door that allows the government to censor any form of political humor it doesn't like? That's the real issue here. If the FCC can pressure networks over one comedian, what's stopping them from targeting YouTubers, podcasters, or anyone with a platform who steps on the wrong toes? What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more.